Andrew Whitworth is entering his 15th year. He spent his first part of his career with the Bengals. Now he's a well-compensated and justifiably so left tackle for the Rams. So let's start with this. Your first reaction to the Packers drafting Jordan Love, just as a veteran in this league and a multi-time Pro Bowler. You're a star at your position. What was your first gut feeling on it?
Whew. Tough. I mean, I think to see him move up and make that kind of decision, regardless of what the validation for the pick is and the quarterback, to have a guy like Aaron Rodgers and him to have already vocally wanted some help and get the receiver or a skill player of some kind, man, you knew that was going to be a lot of emotions probably in that locker room and with those guys for that pick. Listen,
when you were in Cincinnati, you weren't the only offensive tackle they drafted. You've been in this situation, haven't you? When you're a player, you start making a lot of money and an organization drafts a tackle in Cincinnati. I mean, it happened to you, right?
Yeah, I mean, it hit home, that's for sure. I really, 2 years before I left Cincinnati, had gone in and asked the team really what my future would be. I was entering the last year of my contract, and they really never kind of got back to me. They just kept saying they would, and then I sat and watched the draft, and on draft night they took a first-round left tackle and a second-round left tackle. So I guess that was my answer.
So share with us, what were your emotions watching the TV that night?
They weren't good, I can assure you that. I was not a happy camper, let's put it that way. And a lot of guys on the team kind of reached out, and they knew that that'd be something that would be very emotional and upset about. And it's one of the things I tell coaches all the time here in L.A. when we talk about different coaches I've had over my career, that, regardless of success in the league, just Hugh Jackson's a guy that, to me, that will always stick out as somebody that I'll look up to, because he's the only coach that actually called me after that, and I'll always have a bunch of respect for him for that.
Yeah, I mean, it is interesting with Aaron. One reporter said yesterday that he thought, and I don't think this is the case with you, but with Aaron, the Green Bay was sending a message: we run this place. And apparently, according to the reporter on Bleacher Report, Mike Freeman, other executives said, yes, this was saying we run this place. Do you buy that? Do you sense that maybe in small market Green Bay that they feel Aaron's getting a little too big, maybe?
I don't know if it's big as much as I think that message is more like, you know what, in Cincinnati being a small market team and really a team where you don't see a lot of free agency moves, and they kind of run things similar in the sense of they're always preparing for the future. They're always preparing for what's down the road. They're not always just buying into like winning in the moment. And so I think that really what it's saying is look, you're a tremendous player. We have, we obviously expect Aaron Rodgers to be Aaron Rodgers, but don't get messed up on who's in control here. We're going to prepare for our future, and we're not going to just leverage the team to be good right now. We want to make sure that 5, 6, 7 years from now, we have an opportunity to compete as well. And we saw this as our opportunity to really prepare our franchise for 3, 4, 5, whatever, how many years it takes for you to be here, that we're going to prepare our franchise for when you're not here.
Yeah. So Andy Dalton's on the market. You played with him for years. Some have suggested New England. I tend to think New England's going to roll it with Jarrett Stidham. Would he work with Belichick, you think?
I mean, knowing Andy's personality and really kind of the kind of passer and what he's been the most effective with in his career of getting the ball out and timing and accuracy and stuff, I think he would work. But I agree with you. I kind of see Bill Belichick in New England. It just seems to me, based off their urgency with the quarterback situations, is that they kind of feel like they're going to roll with him and they're going to grow and just kind of as Stidham grows and matures, maybe that's how they're going to move.
Yeah. I want to ask you about, I said this to start my show today, is that I love SEC football. I've never, I lived in Tampa briefly, but when I turn the television on, it's fantastic. It's just more NFL players and the passion from the fans. The broadcasts just feel huge. And there's 130 college football programs. Some are small, some are state schools, some are naval academies, some are Ohio State football. And some are in states with more deaths and cases of the virus, and some have more liberal governors than conservative governors. So I don't think all 30 college football programs are going to want to play in September. But I'm real sure the SEC wants to play in September. And I said this earlier. Andrew, they are self-sustaining. They don't need any other conference. They could do whatever they wanted to do. Their ratings would be through the roof. Mostly it's conservative governors. And it's mostly a pro-business, all-in-line, behind our commissioner's sport league down there. Is it a crazy theory to think, you played in that conference, they're kind of their own animal. They kind of see themselves as above the fray and above the sport, right?
I really agree. I mean, I really could see them being something similar to what you see in the NFL and these divisions playing each other twice. I mean, how fun would it be to see an Alabama LSU at Bama and then again back in Baton Rouge? I mean, they could sustain themselves really of just playing matchups and, playing home and away. I mean, they could almost play an entire season and you would have great matchups, great football games, and get to see them have to play on the road and have the opportunity to have the other good team at home later down the month. I mean, I really think the SEC is enough of attention, enough of build behind their programs that people would watch it, and it'd be entertaining as heck to see those matchups happen twice.
So now, as we segue back with Andrew Whitworth to the NFL, okay, so give me since the last time you were on the show, your average workout, what you're doing to stay in shape.
Really every 5 days, really kind of during the week I'm training. So it's Monday through Friday, and it's usually, basically from 11 to 2. It's a mixture of, really conditioning, cardio, working out, lifting weights. I transformed the whole garage into a weight room, and there's nothing in there I don't have. So I'm prepared. I'm lifting, doing it all, and then, hitting some yoga, hitting some conditioning, and getting out in the neighborhood, walking, and just staying active, man.
Do you think you're typical? You do have more money and more established than the average young NFL player. Are you talking to teammates? Do you think your regimen is basically par for the NFL course?
I don't think so. I mean, I think that that would be unfair to say. I mean, there's a lot of guys that either one are living in an apartment or a condo or somewhere where they don't have a lot of access to space that way, and not necessarily just because of money. They may be living in a temporary, because they're with a team only for a couple of years, or they have somewhere they live in the off season. That's what I have a lot of teammates. It's like they keep a place in the off season that they can go stay just to get away. And then they're kind of stuck there now, and it's like, man, it was just a condo or an apartment somewhere in a city, and it's trying to find a way to train. And a lot of it's having to be done virtually or just finding bands or whatever they can in their apartment to work out.
It's interesting. Trent Williams is now the left tackle for the San Francisco 49ers. And I posed this question to John Lynch, the GM. I said, John, he didn't play last year. And, I don't know the position well enough. I think Tom Brady in the offseason still wants to throw every day. If you didn't play for a year and a half, do you lose something? Or as a veteran player, Andrew, could it be an advantage for Trent Williams?
I think at certain points in your career, it can be a little bit of an advantage to have a break on the body, especially for linemen, all the pounding and really impact it takes. But there will still be, I would think, some reactionary skills and just little things that you haven't gone against anybody in a really long time, and just the twitch and trying to react to moves and understanding when to sit down and all those type things. I mean, there's still a feel to the game that you need. I mean, you're in hand-to-hand combat, basically. So, unless he's been doing a ton of that, I mean, there's still going to be some feel there that he's going to have to get used to and get back with. But he's such a, tremendous athlete and great player. You would think he'll adapt fast.
How much hitting do you need, the calluses you need to build up for a season? If we had a truncated, preseason, how many practices with hitting do you need to feel like I'm ready to go for 3.5 hours here on a Sunday and play?
Well, Colin, I mean, after 14,000 snaps in the NFL, I don't really want any. So I would just love to show up and play. But no, you know what? You don't need as many as people think. I think if you've played for a long time now, young guys, there's a lot. I mean, there's some impact, and really a lot of people talk about the hits, but I mean, you think of these skill guys. It's changing direction with somebody hitting your body at the same time. It's a guy on your back while you're trying to push off your Achilles and calves and all that. So, I mean, those are the kind of injuries you see. If you remember in the lockout in 2011. The Achilles injuries, I think the statistic is they went up almost like 60-70% when we came back from that break of an offseason where teams were locked out and really didn't have the opportunity to be together. So, I mean, those are the things you worry about is really guys trying to explode and push through piles and all those things when they really haven't been in any kind of those situations without having football practice an extensive amount of time. I once played in a season where I didn't, I had an injury in my knee, I had a surgery, and my first game was actually week 2 against the Pittsburgh Steelers on Monday Night Football, and I practiced for the first time on Thursday before the game and played in the game. And obviously I was really sore, and there was some adjustment time after that game, but getting out there and playing, it really wasn't as bad as I thought it would be.
That's interesting. Andrew Whitworth of the Rams entering his 15th season. Good talking to you again, buddy.
Hey, you too, man.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.